What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Cleveland Pulse. I am your host, Justin Harold, and with me is my co host, Jeff Santa. Today, we're going to be talking about who we think will be the most influential player on the Cleveland Browns in the 2021 season. Jeff's got his player, I got my player. They're both different, and we're going to talk it out. Jeff, how are you feeling about this one?
Dude, I'm feeling good. I think this was pretty spontaneous, and I think that we've picked I don't know. I mean, I don't think we've picked the necessarily best players from each side of the ball, but I think we've, picked the player that, if you look toward the offense, you look at this guy. If you look toward the defense, you look at this guy. And that's pretty plain, clear and easy to see.
Yeah, you had to take that little jab already about not the best player
I
on
mean,
the
it's
side
true.
of the ball.
It's
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
not. He's not yet. He's not yet.
Trying to give away who we're talking about, but I'll let you start. Obviously, I think your guy is a little bit more on the kind of secured spot on the Browns right now.
Oh, for sure. So I'm going to go with, obviously, spoiler alert, Myles Garrett. For a couple reasons. One, the timeline of his career, very weird. He's been on a team that was 0-16, so he knows, like, you can't get worse than that. Like that, he got the low point of his career, hopefully out of the way, hopefully. Then, he's had multiple defensive player of the year type candidate runs. We know he could get there. He needs to get there. He really does. He has, the big weird one-off incident with, Mason Rudolph, which I think that's already past him, which is
Fluke.
I'm glad for him. It was a fluke, lapse of judgment. Hopefully that's not what people remember him as, but I think that's why I put him as the most influential, most important player to look at for this season, this upcoming season. He needs to be the defensive player of the year. I really think he does. That's high expectations, but I know that's what he's setting for his personal goals. And this is going to be the best defense he's ever played in. Last year, I think, I'm not trying to do any spoilers, but the defense was not very good last year. It's got exponentially better. And I think the offense, for who you're going to pick was very good last year. Maybe, the best offense that we've seen the Browns have in, the last however many years. So I think if Myles Garrett, with all the pieces around him, could be the leader, could, stay healthy, just stay healthy for the full year, you're probably going to be in the top 3 defensive player of the year, discussion with everyone else around you. So I think we're going to have to look toward him to really lead this defense, to keep leading it, because our defense is going to, hopefully is what elevates us to the next level with all these offseason improvements that we've made.
Yeah, and you talk about Miles's, timeline of his career. I think the one thing that I know to make my argument sound a little bit better is, Miles plays DN, and so even with all the coaches that he gets and all the other players around him, the one thing stands true is that he has one job, and that's to get to the quarterback and occasionally stop the run and all that. Whereas my guy Baker Mayfield, his timeline in Cleveland has also been pretty rough. He wasn't a part of that 0-16 team, but for a quarterback, you have a lot of things that you need to learn when you come into the league. And, coming into the league with Hugh Jackson as his head coach didn't last long. Baker sat 2 games, then was shoved in the Jets game Thursday night. Everyone remembers it. Went half the season until Hugh Jackson got fired. And then Greg Williams, head coach, Freddie Kitchens, offensive coordinator. At the end of the season, Freddie Kitchens becomes the new head coach. And we bring in Odell, and everyone's thinking that, everyone – who's crazy. I wasn't one of them. I was thinking that we were going to have a good season, but we're thinking Super Bowl. We go through that season. Freddie Kitchen woes, awful. Baker does awful, throws a ton of interceptions, not good. Trying to learn his second offense. Boom, Freddie gets fired. Bringing Kevin Stefanski, third coach, has to learn a new offense again, but has one of the best years of his career. And obviously he didn't throw for a ton of yards and a ton of touchdowns, but significantly less interceptions, which is a huge, huge improvement. But he gets his second year with the same offense, same head coach, same offensive coordinator, and now all the guys are around him. His offensive line is completely back. His running backs are back. His wide receiver, he's getting Odell Beckham Jr. back. He's getting Rashard Higgins back. He's getting Jarvis Landry back. The team is stacked on offense. There's no reason Baker Mayfield, and everyone was saying last year, I would like to say that maybe 10 games out of the 16 that were played in the regular season, Baker was, handing the ball off a lot more than throwing the ball. And it is what it is. Everyone knew that Kevin Stefanski liked to run the football in Minnesota. Well, that later half of the season when Baker started slinging the ball, he looked amazing. He looked like a top 10 quarterback. He looked like that franchise quarterback. And with this second season and people not going to be able to understand what Kevin Stefanski is going to come out with, is he going to run the ball? Is he going to let Baker sling it? If he lets Baker sling it and the run game becomes the second option, kind of that, you forget about Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt a little bit, and maybe he flips from last season where he comes out throwing the ball with Baker and then starts to rely on Nick and Kareem later. Baker, he's poised to have a top 5 quarterback a year. With the weapons around him. We'll make no lie about it. Baker's got a ton of weapons around him. However, it's all on him to make those decisions, those throws that gets him into that conversation for, hopeful MVP talk, offensive player of the year talk, Pro Bowl, first team, second team, all that good stuff. And I think, the continuity that's there with this organization, coaching staff, team, the culture, Baker's reaching out to the new signees as soon as it happens. He's a leader, and I think we found him. I think we found our franchise quarterback, and I think that he's going to be the most influential. And I think it's just, it's hard to argue. For me, it's hard to argue anyone else being that guy next year.
And now, I'm going to put you on the spot and do a little combination. So you see Andrew Berry bringing in Troy Hill very quickly. Who do you think, as far as posterity, longevity, you could comment on their longevity with the Browns, or you could comment just like in their career in general, who needs a better campaign? Who needs a better season in 2021? Baker Mayfield or Denzel Ward?
So the problem with Denzel Ward compared to Baker is that Baker hasn't missed a game. Baker's been hurt, and he has not missed a game. Knock on wood, thank God. But Denzel Ward, every year he's been here, he has been hurt. However, he has been to a Pro Bowl. He has played as a top 5 cornerback in this league. However, when you're talking about the position group, you already said Troy Hill, they brought him in. Greedy Williams, who knows? Maybe he turns out to be a stud. We go out, we draft someone in the first or second round of this draft, and who knows? We find a stud. It's easy to go out and get a cornerback in the offseason, but it's, we talked about this way earlier before, but you're not going to get a lot of chances to draft your franchise quarterback. And, the freak occasion where Tom Brady goes into free agency and decides to leave the team that he's been with his whole career does not happen a lot. And, Baker, he doesn't need to have a career year. He could do exactly what he did last year, and I think people would be satisfied and, be willing to give him the contract. But Denzel, for me, he does not have the longevity at this point. And I'm an Ohio State guy. I'm a homer. So it's hard for me to say that. But I feel like Denzel definitely needs to have the better campaign. He needs to stay healthy. If he stays healthy for the full season, I will see him back here for the next 3 to 4 years, along with Baker Mayfield, Myles Garrett, and hopefully Nick Chubb, that core group of guys that should all be getting extensions pretty soon here.
You obviously hope that we could just keep both of them around. Obviously that's number one. 1A, I think for the player, I think you're right. I think Denzel has to play the whole year, play the majority of the games, not miss too much time, extended time. In order for just his career, if you get labeled injury prone in the NFL, it's not really, you're kind of no good. I mean, best ability is availability, whatever they say. But I think for the organization, I think we want Baker to have just the best year of his career, the best year of his life.
Yeah.
Just so, best case scenario, obviously everyone knows what best case scenario is at the end of the year, being the last team standing. Back up the Brinks truck for him if that's the case. He controls his own destiny. I think Denzel Ward, being on the defensive side of the ball, he's going to be, you could always make the argument that if he's got good people around him, everyone's playing well. Same thing for the quarterback, but it's like the quarterback's, taking the ball in his hands every single play, regardless if it's a run or a pass. And, he's going to be the leader of your offense vocally, all sorts of things like that. So I think, that's just good discussion overall.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Jeff, I think that's all we got to say for this one. Listen, everyone, if you guys could do us a favor, we've been looking at the stats and everything. A lot of you guys who watch our videos are not subscribed. If you guys could please do us a favor and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you guys can, see when we upload and everything. We're really trying to push out content and try to get you guys informed and, give us, we're trying to give you our opinions and we want to hear your opinions. Leave comments, leave likes and all that. We will get back to you. We'll respond. We love it and everything. Tell us who you think is going to be the most influential player next year. Tell us who you think needs to have a better year, Denzel Ward or Baker Mayfield. And with that, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.